On Talking India Ahead, we have a power-packed panel. Joining me from Hyderabad is Nagulpalli Venkat Rao, who is a human rights activist. We also have Sita Ratan Kumari, another human rights activist, both with divergent views. We'll be getting into that details later. But Prithu Garg, Supreme Court advocate, is live with me from Delhi. L.N. Rao, former DCP, is also with us. Ketan Paul is here with me in the studio, Supreme Court advocate. And Maxwell Pereira, former Joint Commissioner of the Delhi Police, one of the police officers, in fact, who investigated this case, is also live with me, along with Neelam Katara, mother of Nitish Katara. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the show. My first question to you, Prithu Garg, if you're live with me right now, let me first go across to Ketan Paul because he's sitting right next to me. Ketan, how do you see the developments in this particular case? I mean, this is a subject of debate, whether the release of this convict in this particular case, in this high-profile case, is right. Should he not have been released on all the grounds and bases that have been argued in court over these years? Ketan.
Well, I think first of all, we have to remember that this is a person who was convicted. His conviction was confirmed right up till the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has held that he'll have a life sentence, and after the period mandated by law, the sentence can be remitted. So now the question becomes whether or not this remission was justified, and I think in the facts of this case, this fellow has paid his debt to society. He has gone much beyond the 25 years that is required by law, and so I don't see anything wrong with the fact that in accordance with law that he's been reformed and sent back into society to be a productive member of society.
Right. Let me also bring in Neelam Katara into this conversation. Ma'am, thanks so much for joining us. Now, the court for now has cited fundamental rights of Sushil Sharma while allowing him to be released from jail. How do you view this? Miss Neelam Katara, if you can hear me.
Well, I find this a little strange, and I'm not, I mean, with all respects to the High Court, I think I don't quite agree with this, but I think the fault or the difference lies in our IPC. It also lies at the moment in the judgment, the grounds in which the punishment was brought down from death to life at the Supreme Court. So maybe basis that judgment he has passed, the High Court has given their order. But it's all fine to talk about the civil rights and liberties of the convict. But what about the victim? I mean, when someone's life is taken, the victim's family struggles very hard to get a conviction and to get a sentence as per the law. And what the law says is that the punishment for 302 is either death penalty or life. And then we are given to understand that life is for the whole of life. And that is what a layperson goes through court for. And after that we are told that no, but he can, if the behavior is good, he can come out after 14 years, 20 years and all these kind of things. So I think this is completely unjustified. Either you say that the punishment for taking someone's life could be 14 years or 20 years. It is not life for life, it is not death penalty, and even in those 14, 20, 25 years which you really have to struggle for, they can come out on parole, and if they're powerful enough, they have money enough to engage good lawyers, they can spend almost the whole of their conviction out on parole. So my personal understanding has been that till the conviction, the judicial system is entirely in support of the victim. But once the conviction takes place, then the rights of the convict come in. And when it comes to sentencing, it's all about civil rights of the convict. When it comes to giving parole, it's all about the convict. And suddenly the victim is forgotten, as if the victim is not a human, does not have human rights, does not have civil liberties.
That's a very pertinent point that you made, Ms. Neelam Katara. Do stay on with me. I'll come back to you in just a bit. Time now to get in Mr. Maxwell Pereira into this discussion, sir. You worked extremely hard over these years to ensure that Sushil Sharma is, he pays the price for what he's done for the murder of his wife. How do you feel now that he walks out free? Mr. Maxwell
He
Pereira.
has served about 23 years. I think he has paid his debt to society, and there's nothing about feeling. He's done his term, so he has been remitted.
Also, Mr. Pereira, justice system might be a reformative one, but a family suffers a massive loss, in these kind of cases. And this is something that they have to deal with not for a year or two, but for the entirety of the time. And this was one such painful case, thinking about the family of Naina Sani at this point in time.
Well, there is a judicial system, a criminal justice administration system in our country, and the judiciary decides on the quantum of punishment. So I suppose that judiciary has done its job, and the conviction was there. We got death penalty in 2 successive courts, that is the trial court, sessions court, and the High Court. But in the Supreme Court, that was commuted to life sentence. So, and now he's, after 23 years, the courts have decided that he has done enough, so he has been released.
Right. Let me try and bring in Sita Ratan Kumari, who's a human rights activist, joining me live from Hyderabad at this point. Ms. Kumari, you heard what Mr. Maxwell Pereira and earlier Ms. Neelam Katara, she made a very pertinent point. What about the victims' rights in this case? I want your perspective on the latest that we've seen in this case with the convict, even though serving a jail time of 23 years on life imprisonment, but he's walking out free.
Yeah, ma'am, I strongly oppose Delhi High Court decision to release him because in my opinion, he has a cruel attitude at the age of early 30s because he has many ways to handle such kind of situation, but he did choose this kind of way. This is not acceptable. Moreover, he chopped her body into pieces and attempted to burn in a oven, so which is it's a really brutal murder. If he is a good person, it wouldn't have he wouldn't have done brutal murder. So I don't accept at all, because
so his intention was very clear, is what you're saying. The motive was very clear at the time that he committed the crime, and that's why you think he shouldn't have been let out and walk scot-free.
Yes.
Nagulpalli Venkat Rao, do you also feel the same?
Yeah, ma'am, I feel the Sharma, whatever the crime he has committed, the blunder he has committed, for that, for all these 23 years he was in jail, and after going through so many facts which have been led to this, finally court has decided to that's life imprisonment. And as per the law, if the life imprisonment is there, it is for only for 14 years. So now, when more than the required, he has been in the jail, and the human consideration is, I don't say whatever he has done with cruelty, it is definitely punishable. But now, after examining so many things, now court has decided, after going through facts, court has decided he can be out.
So you think he's paid the price, and it is all right for him to walk out scot-free at this point in time? That's interesting. Now, this is the debate that we want to try and delve deeper into, but it will be